For another episode of What Are We Drinking, and we're joined by the incredible Rhys and Jaxon from Empower Care. Welcome, boys.
Thanks for having us.
So nice to have you here. Now, I believe we're getting lit at 11 o'clock in the morning, and so we have vodka and tequila. Now, who is drinking the vodka?
Me. I'm having vodka.
All right. Now, before you drink your vodka, Rhys, I want to know, why vodka lime soda?
I think it goes back to the schoolies days. On schoolies, I think we're having 20 plus cruises a day. So I was a sugary man all my life, couldn't drink beer.
Yeah.
And I think, schoolies has turned me away from any sugary drink. And since then I tried beer, but I just can't stomach it. So we're on the vodka lime soda.
Vodka lime soda.
I still can't stomach it, yeah.
Yeah, it's actually pretty boring, right?
Is,
I didn't expect it for you. And then we've got Jaxon on the tequila, also with lime soda.
Yes, the TLS. So similar to Rhys, I think like all of us our age, we're little rugrats, we're walking to parties with 10 packs of cruisers.
Yeah.
And it gets old pretty quickly, you're hungover and whatnot. And then I heard of the TLS method, the tequila lime soda. You can sit on it, they have 5 or 6, get a bit of a buzz, and then the next day you're right as rain, there's no hangover. So
the
been drinking ever since.
I think that's a big one. Yeah, no hangover the next day is probably the...
Yeah.
It's because it's got no sugar, right?
Yeah.
It's so funny. I went out with my family we had my dad's 70th on the weekend, right? And my cousin came over and she bought a 4-pack of cruisers. And I was like, oh, are you actually fucking serious? Like, what are we, 18? And she like walks in and then she had red. So then all of a sudden she's got like a red face, the red lips, the red teeth, etc. So, all right, boys. Cheers.
Cheers. Oops, sorry.
Oh.
We're going to link arms too.
You forgot each other.
It's not bad.
Not bad, Milo.
Not bad.
Good brew, Milo.
We're going to roll with it. Okay. All right. So 2 best friends. Yeah. So I want to know, how did 2 best friends get into business together?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a...
and from different parts too. I was born and raised in Penrith, so I was always here. Grew up, went to school at Penrith Christian School just down on the Northern Road. And Rhys was a country boy from Bendigo down in Victoria. So, I didn't even know how you came up to.
So I think it links back to when I was used to do a lot of ultra running. I would come up for an ultra race in Port Macquarie. And through that, I just made a couple of connections. I aligned a lot with a couple of boys I met at that race. I come up a few times. That's where I initially met Jax. We didn't really connect. Just kind of... we kind of hung out together. We didn't have much of a conversation.
Instagram buddies.
That was about it.
Who was the better runner?
Me. And then about... I reckon 6 months later, all these boys were moving out to a house together, and Jax just happened to be in that house. I kind of outgrew Bendigo, all I wanted to do, and I'd always been striving for more. I just didn't know what that looked like, and I had the opportunity to move to Sydney. Didn't know if it was the right decision, but I knew something kind of needed to change. I moved in with Jax, and just pretty instantly we kind of started to develop a friendship, and then from there just I snowballed, I guess.
Yeah.
Love that.
There's a bit of a story there though.
Okay.
When Rhys first moved up, we didn't, like you said, we didn't connect straight away.
Okay.
So he was the boy from Bendigo. There was a little bit of mystery behind him, but he was training for an Ironman at the time. And where I was, like where my room was and where my office was, I could see the garage from my room, and I'd just see this guy up there for 3 hours every day on his bike and his laptop, just working away. And then I remember one day I heard some
sad music.
Playing.
Oh, I was going to say, where is this conversation going?
I was like, what's going on? And we, like, that was the first time that we had a deep conversation. We talked about some of the things that were going on in our lives. And that was where our relationship as friends really grew. Like that was the moment, and I remember that.
I want to know what the song was. Like, what was the sad song?
It was like Zach
Lewis
Capaldi,
Zach Bryan, Noah Khan. I just love that music though. Whether I'm sad or not, I just love those.
I remember when we did our session and we put on some music.
Bridges.
That's another song that we bonded over actually as well.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so you became friends, you lived together, boy from Bendigo and Penrith. And then what were you each of you doing before you decided to do this business together?
I was already in support, but I had a history of being in construction, all different types of job, but I found my place in support. At the time, I was working at another company, and I slowly transitioned to doing my own work just because I wanted to do it my way, and I loved the impact I was having with the boys.
Yeah.
Through that, I started to grow, and that's where Jaxon saw what I was building, and we come together and we thought, I think we can do this together, and we come up with a plan, and that's where me and Jackson connected. And
Yeah.
Jackson told
And
us
it was kind of a similar story. Like I was in my office looking out the window and I was working in civil maintenance at the time, and through COVID we started working from home more often. So I was at home 3 days a week, in the office too. And I'd see Rhys and he'd be with these young boys and they'd be having a lot of fun together. They'd be either be in the gym or they'd be passing the footy. And I saw that as an opportunity, and me and Rhys obviously had become very close at the time. And I asked him, I said, hey, do you mind if I do some volunteer work with you? Do you mind if I start doing this with the boys? I want to know if it's something that would align with me, and it did. And we grew some great relationships with our first few participants, and that was where Empower was born.
Oh, I love that so much. And I've obviously had the pleasure of working with you both a little bit, and you're such a dynamic duo, right? Like you do say like, Rhys, you are a little bit of a mystery man, right? Like, you're a bit like a Clark Kent with those glasses actually, I feel like like, you've got your daytime job and then like you take off your glasses and you're like this superhero, right?
Yeah.
Behind closed doors, that's my experience with you anyway, right? But, obviously you're both so different. So like what makes you guys brilliant when it comes to working together, do you think? Like, I know the answer, but I'd love to hear it from your guys' side.
I think that does. Like, we are both very different in our own ways. Like, we're aligned in some parts, or we're aligned in all parts. I mean, that's why we built the business together. But we're very different, and the way we view things is very different as well. But we can communicate clearly to each other. I feel like that is something that, like, as a duo in the industry or in any industry, you need to be able to communicate with each other. You need to be able to meet each other where they're at, and I guess, work together. And
I think from an early age, when me and Jaxon started becoming mates, he was teaching me to communicate. I think that helped a lot when we started the business together, and I think that's why we bonded so much. And,
Oh God, I fucking love you guys. Okay, all right. So when was Empower Care born?
It initially started in Bendigo. That's where that would have been maybe 6 to a year before I moved up to Sydney. So I had that name, I had the vision. I was working with a couple of kids in Bendigo after while I was working for another company. But it really come to life when me and Jaxon sat down and discussed what Empower Care meant to us and where we see ourselves in the industry and the impact we want to have.
And that's what it looked like. Like when Rhys moved up here, he had no network, he had no connections. He knew a handful of boys, me being one of them. And to try and start from scratch was difficult. And he did. He was doing unreal. Like we had those first two boys, and that was when I became a part of Empower Care. We sat down, had the conversation, and the first 8 months, Rhys was going full time in the business. He was working every day, like 7 days a week. He was doing lawn mowing. He was doing one-to-one support. He was doing everything that you could do in the space to try and build. And I was still working full time at the company I was at. On the afternoons that I could, I was coming down to support. We're doing the programs and the weekends, and I think there was a lot of hard times there, wasn't there?
It was hard because especially when you feel like you're putting everything in the business, and Jaxon still got his full-time job, so it is very hard to manage. And then Jaxon feels like, I'm really overwhelmed from this job, I can't put it anymore. So you start to build, there's a bit of tension there, but as long as you work through it, communicate, and.
And before we talk about what Empower Care is about, let's touch on that a little bit, because it's something that entrepreneurs, especially two young boys, is trying to have a crack that we don't talk about enough of, right? It's like probably people looking at you guys now, and I certainly know when people are looking at me, they see, a few years down the track where it's looking really pretty and social media is looking like, we've built an empire or whatever, and nobody sees that initial part, right? Like the real grind, dirty part where you're still working your job, you're still doing everything on the side. Talk me through sort of that part, what was the grind? What was it actually like?
I think we're lucky in that way, because I was able to work outside of my other work hours, and it was unpaid hours. Everything that I earned through Empower Care was going straight back into the business and being reinvested in the programs, back into the participants. So for us, we're lucky. And I think that when we do disagree on things, which is very rare, it always comes back to that, we're a team. We have that conversation and we remind each other that we're in this together. We've got each other's backs. So I think that was a big part of that first couple of months when the hours that we were doing were pretty extreme. We were a little bit fatigued. We talked about burnout, but we didn't want to believe we had burnout at the time. But that was what it came back to, knowing that we had each other's backs and that we were a team.
Nice. And to the extent, what was mine was Jackson's as well. Like we combined our wages, what Jaxon was making, as I wasn't making as much in Empower. So we're sharing groceries, we're sharing rent, we're sharing everything. There was no, I'm making this much, I'm going to be able to do this activity. Like if I couldn't do something, Jaxon wasn't doing it. And if Jaxon couldn't do it, we were it was all in and like it was combined.
It's almost like a marriage.
Yeah.
Well, it is, right?
Well, you have to,
When's
right?
the big day?
That's what I was thinking when you got rid of the one chair.
That would have been hilarious. I should have actually made you two both on one lounge. All right, cool. Now tell me, what is Empower Care like for? What's the mission of Empower Care?
It's making young people feel seen and heard and believing in them. And I think a lot of the kids we deal with feel disconnected from family, school, and just laugh and don't really have a path. And that kind of connects with the way I felt during school. And like when I look at these kids and they tell me what's ahead of them and what they're feeling, I just want to squeeze them and say it's going to be okay because like if I can do it, they can do it. I think we want to instill that belief in these kids that there is a pathway. It's not going to be easy, but we're going to figure it out. And we want to be that big family community for all of our participants, workers, and just create belonging essentially.
Oh my God, I've got goosebumps all over. What a special mission. Hey, do you have anything to add? Because I mean, that's pretty good.
I do. It is great. It's hard to come after that one, but I think we learned that early because when we started, we didn't actually, like we had no idea what we were going to do in the industry. It was our first time running the business together. We knew what we wanted Empower to stand for, but we didn't know how we were going to deliver it. So it was what we learned from that first few months of working together, the type of participants that were being referred to us. We were supporting a lot of young males and they were in that teenage age where they're already trying to navigate life with a disability, but they're trying to navigate this important part of their life that the normal teen would be struggling with as well.
Such a fork in the road, right?
Exactly. So we fell into that, and we obviously were relatable young men. These boys related well to us. We did some activities that they enjoyed, some activities that built their independent life skills, and that was kind of where we found that, okay, it's all about connection. It's all about belonging. And that's how we build these people up. Yeah.
I love that so much. And I love that you have this really unique niche in serving young people, right? Now, I know that that's deeply connected to you guys. What is the personal reason? Like, is it like lived experience? Is it your navigation through, young adulthood? Like, why was it you chose to support young adults?
Yeah.
That's a good question. Like Jaxon said, we kind of fell into it, but obviously there was a reason. I think when I think back to towards my schooling years, I was struggling a lot with social anxiety. I had severe acne. I was struggling with what I wanted to do, who I was. I was never the best at sport. My group was very sporty, so I was very lost. And then once I finished school, obviously everyone goes different ways. And I kind of explain it. There's a scene on The Simpsons where they're trapped in a dome. I felt like my breath was just shrinking, and I felt so like lost and I felt like a bit of an alien. I had a conversation with our participants recently about that, but and I felt like I just needed someone, a bit of guidance, someone to kind of believe in me. And then I was spiraling. It was pretty bad. I didn't know it was bad. I was crying myself to sleep. And I remember one night I was messaging lots of different helplines for mental health. They weren't replying. It was like 12 o'clock at night. And I remember this one guy, he was called the Modern Bloke, and he stayed up all night talking to me. And I think that's where it comes back to now that I made the connection. And is that person that just wants to hear you and listen to you and tell you it's going to be okay. And that's what I want to be for the kids, I think.
Oh my God, that's so amazing.
Yeah.
Take it away. Wow, super powerful. And thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing that. I can't imagine that would have been easy. And I think that, if you can be that for somebody else, it's so special, hey?
Yeah. And I think when they sit down in front of me, they tell me all their problems. I relate to it and what we've done in Empower and how far we've come as people. I know it's possible, but it's going to take a long time. And I just want them to come under our wing, and it's going to be okay.
I love that. So special. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I think, even though I mentioned there was an accidental niche that we fell into, it's almost like Rhys and I were programmed with our upbringings to fall into that and support kids and teens going through that period of their lives. For me, it was always like I'm the second oldest of 5 kids, so I was the older brother.
Yeah.
And I always loved to be around my younger siblings and my younger cousins when I was a kid. My mum and my nan, they always thought I was going to be a primary school teacher or a pediatrician or something to do with working with kids. And then when it was time for me to get a job, like things that happened in the house or in my upbringing, I just wanted stability. I just wanted a job that paid on time. I didn't really care about my passion at the time. I didn't care about what I wanted to do. It was just get a job, get some money, do the things that I want to do. And that's what I did for 12 years. And then this fluffer comes up from Melbourne and he's in my face and he's doing this powerful stuff, right? And I fell in love with it as well. And it just took me back to that. And I had a conversation with my nan not 2 weeks ago, and she brought up how that's what she thought I would always do. She always thought that I'd be looking after someone or caring for someone.
Yeah.
Even though she thought it was kids, we are supporting kids, but teens as well. So
yeah. I love that. And you talk about sort of this big brother or like mentorship sort of idea is kind of your business model, right? It's like, you know, you kind of take everyone under your wing and you're like, come on, let's show us what you can achieve, right? And we're thinking about a similar concept at the moment, I think, just in life, right? It's like if you can remove all the barriers from somebody's life or even just show them how to navigate the barriers, truly everyone's potential is you can achieve anything, right? So you've got this big brother / mentorship. I don't know if I've got that wording correctly, but I'm sure that's kind of the business model. How do you actually live and breathe that in practice in your business?
Well, I think it starts with connection. I think before any of the goals, before we're working towards any of the things that are holding these kids back in their life, it's having that connection. So whether it's with their support worker or with the group as a whole, coming through and feeling comfortable and confident in themselves, that's where it starts. And then we can get into the life skills that they want to be working on, the stuff that is holding them back a little bit. So that was what I want to say.
It's like almost like connection is safety.
It is.
Right? Like they have to feel safe first, because if they don't feel safe, they're not going to open up and share what their aspirations are, right? Because I mean, that's kind of like an intimate thing, you know? Like, exactly. So you have to feel trusted to be able to share that initially, right?
And it's built through consistency.
Yeah.
It's built through showing up.
Yeah.
It's built through active listening.
Yeah.
And these are all things that we train our support workers now to do in those first few sessions, because it is so important. Those first 5 sessions that you do with a participant, it's going to make or break that relationship.
Oh, 100%. Particularly young people, right? Like you've only got a short window, right, to build that trust. Otherwise, it's gone, right? Okay, so you create this beautiful safe space, you connect it, and then what happens next?
I think that's where once they've built the confidence, they start to feel more confident and they start to express themselves, and that way we can start to figure out what they actually want in life, and then we can tailor our services, our programs around to what they actually want. Because if without the confidence, they don't know who they are, they don't actually know what they want, and we're just going to put them into a program that they're not going to relate to, not going to enjoy. So once we have the confidence, we know what they want. And then we can start pursuing those goals, break them down. All right, this program will fit. All right, we can change this for you so we enjoy this program. This one won't fit. Maybe you should join this, and then you can join this program later. And then once we find they're in the programs, they start to make friends, sharing experiences. They're hanging out with their friend, like our participants outside a program. Yeah. And all of a sudden there's this new spark, and they're like, I want to get my driver's license. I want to try this. Can I try work experience? So it all starts from that connection. And I think that's a part of Empower, and one of our biggest values too is belonging. They feel like they belong to something now.
That sense of community, right? It's so important, like you said, like it, particularly that critical age in someone's life is like if you don't feel connected or a sense of community, you feel that isolation, right? And there's already a level of isolation of living with a disability, right? In terms of not feeling like you're fitted or part of mainstream, right? So it's like add that complexity on top of having this beautiful community where they can feel safe, connected, and make friends. I mean, how special, right? Yeah. Now, you talked about somebody getting their driver's license. Now, you made me cry recently on your social media, and I was like, and you're working with a young guy that, had got his L's. Yeah. Now, I imagine that was a huge achievement for that person. So talk me through that, like, because it was so special watching you, and like I could see it in you when you were trying to like build his confidence, and then you were like, I'm so proud. I was like, I'm so proud. So talk me through like that, how long that took, what that aspiration was, how long you've been working on it, what it meant to that individual. Obviously you don't have to identify them, but share a little bit about it. Yeah,
that was a pretty special moment, and I think it started at the start of the term. I think it was term 1. Coop expressed, and his family expressed, that he had aspirations of getting his license. He was very nervous. So he was quite hesitant at the start, and throughout the term, every Wednesday we'd go to the library and go through the DKT course. Every week there's questions, and every week he was getting a couple wrong. It was quite challenging, and throughout the term he expressed that it might not be possible, it's too hard kind of thing. And for someone that struggles reading as well, I understood what he was feeling, and it can feel like I'm not capable. So to get to the end of the term through everything, and even a lot of these kids growing up being told they can't, he might have been told he'd not be able to get his license, and that's what you hear from society. So for him to pass it was a moment of realizing he's capable and he can do it. Yeah. And that comes back to the belief, like I believed in him from the start, and that's what we talk about all the time, is believing in these kids, pursuing through, no matter how long it takes. He told me that it was too hard, and I said, I'm going to be here until we get it. Like, it doesn't matter how long it takes. So I think that it was super special for him, and a moment of realizing he is capable and he can do it.
So good.
I just want to add to that too.
Yeah.
So watching this journey for the young participant, like he was still coming to all of the programs that we ran throughout this time. So all of the other kids were getting around him. And when he finally got his license, him coming in that afternoon, everyone was like, I'm so proud of you. You know, he was getting daps up left, right and centre. So
daps up?
just like a little handshake. So all the boys were getting around him.
I was like, what the fuck? So uncool.
And,
I'm so uncool. And I had to come to some of the programs.
But it was cool to watch. Like all the support workers were letting them know how proud they were of him, and he was proud in himself, and you could see that.
So good. And we talk about confidence a little bit, right? Is that like obviously confidence is really critical for a person with a disability, but it's really critical for anybody, right? Like if I look at myself as a businesswoman, I look at you two boys as, you know, going throughout your career as well, as I know that some stuff makes you guys uncomfortable. I know that sitting in these podcast chairs is making you feel uncomfortable, right? Like, and I know that probably would have been like, I know when I felt uncomfortable, I'm like, fuck, run for the hills, run the other way. How do I get out of this? All that kind of stuff, right? And I love that you guys sort of lean into getting uncomfortable. And I know that, you know, I know specifically that you don't like public speaking, for example, right? Here you are on a podcast and I remember you preparing to do a pitch and, you know, all of those kinds of things. It's like, how do you believe, because obviously you are building and instilling confidence in others, but you're also still going on a journey of confidence for yourself, right? What do you think the secret sauce is to building confidence?
I think, well, for me, it's just feel it and then just lean into it. Like everything I've ever done in my life that's been scary, there's been something good on the other side. And although you convince yourself otherwise during the time, you tell yourself all these different stories of why you shouldn't even come in today. We're telling ourselves so many times and why we shouldn't come in, or we don't deserve to be here. You'll feed your brain with so many things to make yourself a bit better to not do something. And I think once you do it so many times and you realize good's on the other side, you start to realize a pattern that past all these scary things and past, you know, shitting yourself to come on a podcast, there's good to come. And I think that's with anything in life. So just feeling it and then leaning into it.
Yeah.
Totally.
I think Rhys nailed that one. We were definitely on the back foot of you coming in today. We were very nervous, but like you said, every time that you go through something and there's hardship or there's that worry or that scared feeling, I guess.
Fear or anything like that, just overcoming it. It is actually just sometimes just leaning in, right? It's like the fear exists. It feels like I'm walking into fire, but I'm going to walk into fire anyway, right? Knowing that, I also think like, you know, I recently went and did ayahuasca and, you know, did my whole retreat experience. And when I came off my anxiety medication, and that was something I was really scared of doing because I experienced burnout in 2024 and I was like, you know, I then started taking anxiety medication and I said, if I come off my anxiety medication, I'm just to be fueled with anxiety, right? And I was speaking to a coach at the time and they said to me, can your anxiety kill you? And I was like, no. And they're like, can it physically harm you or hurt you? And I was like, no. And so when I actually had that realization in my head, I was like, I'm actually in control. It's like I'm in control of my body, my mind, all of that kind of stuff. It physically can't hurt me, but I had told myself for 2 years that it can hurt me, that it can kill me, that it can debilitate me, etc. And I'm not saying that everybody, you know, needs to go off their anxiety medication or anything like that, but it was like actually the realization is that like this cannot harm me, kill me, or anything like that. It's like coming on a podcast can feel super scary. Speaking in front of people can feel super scary. Doing the thing that makes you feel uncomfortable can feel totally like it's gonna like literally kill you at the time, right? But when you actually just sit back and go, hey, it's not gonna kill me today, you know, and you do it anyway. It's like on the other side, that's where the confidence builds, right? It's like, hey, it didn't hurt me, didn't kill me. I might have fucked it up a little bit, you know what I mean? Exactly. But there's some learnings, and I always say you're either winning or learning. You're never losing, right? There's always a learning on the other side.
And I think being surrounded by other business people that we look up to, yourself, all these people, everyone experiences the same feeling. It's just people are better at hiding at it and just lean into it more than others. And then once, like, I don't know, we can tend to look up to people on social media and think they have it together, and then we compare ourselves like, why don't I have it together? But the reality is they're crumbling on the inside as well.
100%.
And we're all feeling the same feelings. So
just who wears a better mask.
Exactly.
Or who can perform better sometimes, you know, under that. But everybody feels it. And for everyone, it's different, right? Yeah. For some people, it's public speaking. For other people, it's going into a room full of meeting or presenting or whatever. It could be a whole bunch of things, right? Yeah. Totally agree. Now, with your participants, obviously, your goal is to help them achieve their dreams and aspirations. And maybe it might not be big as dreams and aspirations. It might be just learning to cook or whatever it is, right? It's like, what are some of the, like, goals that you've helped people achieve that you're really proud of?
Yeah, one that comes to mind is one of the boys who we started with, he was the first participant I ever supported when I was volunteering. He's probably like maybe the fourth or fifth that joined in Power Care along the journey. But at the start, when he came on board, he was so anxious about coming to our group programs that he literally ran away before our first social group. So I remember I was waiting, I was with one of the boys, we were down playing bowling, and Rhys is like, nah, I can't find him. I've got to go call his mum. And they were running around for about an hour trying to find him. He jumped on his bike and he's hit the legs.
Bless him.
But he came to that night, and throughout those few months, we built a lot of rapport. We had a lot in common. He loved the outdoors. He loved swimming at Jelly Bean, so I would take him down there. So that was what we built our relationship around support on. And in that time, he was he'd started attending school a little less, and his mum had reached out to us and let her know that it was becoming a bit of an issue. The school had touched base with her, and being able to build his confidence, we started doing morning support sessions with him preschool. And then to see him graduate year 12 last year, Rhys and I went down there and watched the ceremony.
Yeah.
Oh, it was unreal. It was one of the best feelings I've ever had in this space, still to this day.
So special.
Just thinking, like seeing him up on stage get his diploma or the year 12 certificate, and then thinking back to when he was running away on his bike. And I just thought, wow, what a journey he's come on.
What a journey. Yeah. So special. What about you?
I have a lot, but I think the one that stands out to me most is probably I went for a meet and greet, and the mum was telling me he hasn't never engaged in any services, and as soon as I met him, he didn't want to talk to me. He just wants to play his PlayStation. He's running away from me, and it felt like I was pulling out teeth in that first connection meeting. I was like, I'm not sure what we're going to be able to do here, because he just didn't want to look at me. But after perseverance, we did a couple of sessions with him. I built that rapport. You know, I've been there. Like it wasn't so long ago I was in your position. I understand you don't want to hang out with me. I'm boring, but showing him that we aren't that boring. We're cool. We're fun. We used to be there.
We slap.
Yeah, we dap up. You know, and he started to realize that he was seen and heard, and I related to some of the problems he was having in his life. And then over the school holidays, after the first couple of sessions, to see our staff reporting back that he's out the front with his backpack on, ready to go. And then once the school holiday program ended, he's asking me when's the next excursion. So from not wanting to engage in anything, you know, struggling in support unit at school, lacking friends, to making friends on program, asking when the staff are coming back, it just makes me feel like he's found his place and we've done our job.
So special.
Yeah.
And so we talk about, like, you know, in our community, in the NDIS community, we talk a little bit about, like, you know, professional boundaries, right? And, you know, the challenge that I find, I don't know if you guys find the same thing, is that you do become heavily invested in these guys' lives, right? Like, you've just given me two beautiful scenarios of where you've, you know, it almost feels like they're your child. Like, I think about my child getting up on stage, and I would have the same experience.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're very proud, and that all that kind of stuff is like, what do you think we're doing right or wrong as a sector? And to, like, you know, actually be a part of these guys' lives and it not be like all around professional boundaries or whatever. Are we getting it right now, or are we still not quite getting it right?
Well, something that we learned along the way, didn't we? Like at the start, we were still new to the industry. We were going gung-ho, and we're just running this business from passion, and we're running it from care and like everything that we come together originally. And we kind of had a bit of a grey area on those professional boundaries. We did see these kids as brothers, and we learned along the way. Obviously, we started hiring, and we had to reach out to you guys, get all our policies in check, and make sure our back end was sturdy. But
FYI, I don't like policies. I don't know who gave policies in my team.
But those first few sessions, it was that little bit of a grey area, and that's where we built the connection. So trying to do that while keeping the professional boundaries, I mean, we do it now, but I think that's what the sector is missing. I think that true connection, not just sending people out there as a job, you know, not just finding a support worker for a person or a participant that isn't a match, you know, actually doing their due diligence and trying to connect someone with someone that they'll connect with before, set them up for success instead of setting them up for failure. I think that's a big part, and that's what we're doing now when we're onboarding staff. It's the first thing that we're trying to get across, that connection. Yeah,
it is really hard, right? Because you asked to, and I have this conversation a lot. It's like you asked to, you know, particularly in our instance, you know, go into their home, you know, ask them to present themselves naked to you, provide their personal care, connect with them, get to know their family, take them out of the community, get involved in their dreams and aspirations, ask them, you know, to share all of their intimate, you know, secrets or vulnerabilities with you, but then not give a shit.
Yeah.
Right? Like, in what fucking world do those two things coexist?
Yeah.
Right? It's like, because there is an element of, okay, yes, we're paid supports in their life, right? So there has to be an element of professional boundaries, but also, can we just actually say that we give a shit? you know, and that might mean that you put your arms around somebody and give them a hug once in a while, you know, because historically that's been like, oh, you can't do that, you know, but it's like, how can you ask us to be in their lives and not care about them, you know, 100%. But then also provide quality services or whatever, right?
I think that, like you said, that's why we have been so successful or so far in what we've done is that connection, and maybe we do push the line of professional boundaries and what that looks like, but if we didn't show that care or passion, like we wouldn't get the results we do with the kids we have.
100%.
And it gets too clinical. There's so much back end that's required these days that it is very hard. And I get why some companies become a bit of a robot company because it's hard.
Yeah.
But it's the missing piece.
Yeah, and I would argue is I imagine that obviously you're working with young people, so you're also working with families like parents, you know, of said children, you know, that they would be your primary contact person. Yep. I wonder, do they have any feedback for you? Like, would they say, hey, actually, I want you to not pretend, like not care and like, you know, be a robot, so to speak, as you know, you articulated, or actually, I don't give a shit. I just want you to love my son.
They can't praise us more.
Yeah.
That's where like we have really not marketed Empower Care at all. It's been through socials with Rhys and word of mouth through parents, and they honestly sing it from the rooftops. Like they love what we're doing. They love how their kids respond. They love the progress that they're making with us. Yeah. And they share that with whoever will listen to them. So that's the feedback we'd get. We'd never get any any pushback or anything like that.
Certainly,
And they say we feel a part of the family, and like as a parent sending your child out, you want nothing more than for your support worker to feel a part of the family, right?
100%.
Like instead of some random support worker that's just been assigned to you guys that doesn't build that relationship, doesn't, you know, I think it's so important to even build a relationship with the parents to further understand the situation. Then you can better support the participant. And with someone just rocking up, dropping at the door, picking up, taking out, there's no connection there. We don't know what's going on. It's just,
Like you said, we're in the home. We're in the home in the mornings. Like these are early hours. The house is buzzing. Everyone's getting ready for school or for work.
The other kids are getting ready, you know.
So to go about that and be clinical and have professional boundaries, like it's just not going to happen. You're going to be involved in one way or another.
Yeah, totally.
We were not to talk to the other brother, or we weren't to talk to mum, or just to focus on the participant. It just doesn't work in the morning. Like if you connect with everyone, what's going on to the other participants, do you need anything kind of thing. I think it's what makes it work in the mornings and in the family households. We feel a part of it. Everyone welcomes us in, and if we were clinical, everyone would be like,
I will fall on my sword every fucking day of the week is that it is impossible to not be connected, you know, if you actually providing, you know, person-centered support that actually gives a shit, right? And I'll argue it to a black and blue the face and don't give a fuck, right? And that's my opinion. I've been in disability 19 years, right? It's like, I remember when I was working on the floor, and I don't get to do it as often as I'd like now, but I still work on the floor to this day. But I remember I used to take, you know, this you know, middle-aged woman to her family, to her sister's house, you know, every Sunday. You know, and she had, you know, very significant autism. We could barely get her out of the house most of the days, right? But when we got to the point we were taking her to her family members, we used to take her every Sunday. Now, she had 2 young children, and I used to jump on the trampoline with them, and we used to cook the barbecue together, and often we'd bake a cake with, you know, my participant as well. And I knew this family for years, right? Like, and then I was like, we celebrated birthdays together and all that kind of stuff. It would be like crazy to me. I literally connected with them. The full circle moment is that sister's now working for me, which is just crazy, right? But it's like, I loved their family. You know, I took them birthday presents when we were celebrating the kids' birthdays. I knew what their favorite toy was, you know. You become part of their life, you know, and it's actually such a privilege, like, and such a special, you know, role in the participants' lives. Is not just delivering support to them, it's actually being part of their world, which makes it feel even more special, right?
Yeah, and I think that's what we love at Empower. Like, we see staff, you know, going to the supermarket and saying, hey, do you think the kids would love this? And I think, like you said, without being involved so heavily in the kids' life, we wouldn't know what their interests are, wouldn't know all the different dynamics of their family households and how we can better support them if we weren't so connected. And I think that's why it's so special. And all the kids, when we sit down for our teens nights and stuff, they say it feels like family. And I think that's why it's working so well.
Talk me through teens night. What happens at teens night? Right? No tequila, I hope, boys.
Well, teens night was one of the, sorry, I've been smashing mine.
Yeah, I know. Might have to chug a bit.
So teens night was one of the first programs that we started. And this was when we had the 2 boys, 2 16-year-olds, different disabilities, different abilities. And we just knew that they were lacking socially, so we decided to do something fun together.
Yeah.
And that was where it built from. We haven't missed. We do it fortnightly on Fridays.
Yeah.
And we haven't missed a fortnightly Friday
teens night.
since that young participant decided to run away before our session.
Yeah.
But that was that's where we come together, and that's where we try and connect. We do these fun activities.
Yeah.
Some kids want to come, some don't want to come. Majority do. We make it fun, and we let the kids pick as well. So we'll put the options to them. But that is that's the social. That's the social.
And so, what is a
night.
typical teen night? Run me through a Friday teens night.
Last week we did rock climbing, we had a barbecue, and we played board games at Flinders Slopes. Some of the other teams' nights, they can go laser tag, bowling, arcade. And I think this is super important because when kids are feeling disconnected from school, disconnected from friendships, family, going to an activity they actually want to go to, where there's kids that actually support them and like them for who they are, and staff that encourage that, that's where it all starts. And that's how we get them to the other programs where we can work on the life skills, etc. And that's where we're invited into the family home because the participants now comfortable with, they've seen us in that cool environment. They go play arcade with us, of course, I want to hang out with them.
Yeah.
And then they see,
My cool support worker.
exactly. Oh, Johnny's on the cooking program. Can I go to that now? And all of a sudden we've got a kid that doesn't want to cook that wants to cook just through that, teens night. So I think it's super important.
It's become that referral piece. Like the kids will join in Power Care because they want to come to teens group.
Yeah.
And then it slowly filters down to the other programs or one-to-one support.
I love that.
But yeah, it is.
Where's teens night?
All over the shop.
Yeah?
Yeah, everywhere. Yeah.
Where do we?
Here,
Oh,
there,
so you
everywhere.
just do it. So you don't host it at a specific place. It's just like hosted at an activity or what have you.
Yeah, so we went to Vivid recently. In 2
fun.
weeks we have end of term, so we're going to book out a room at the go-karting at entertainment park, snacks, they're going to play arcade, and it's going to be an end of term breakup. So
In term breakup.
Yeah.
I'm like, are there any flings?
Milo, you're invited.
You might get an invite, doll. I don't slap, so or dab or whatever the fuck it is.
Don't say slap when you come down there.
Okay, cool. And so what other, who still runs the programs? Is it you boys still running the programs?
Yeah, so both of us, we decided early that we were always going to be, like there was always going to be at least one of us on every program.
Yeah.
So more recently, we've had a couple of the boys that are now graduated out of the teens program and they're in the adults program.
Oh,
Yeah, they're stepping out into the big world. So
what about that?
So Rhys has been looking after the teens groups
Okay.
and I've been looking after the adults. So that's how we kind of split at the moment. And then whichever ones we can come to both, we'll both be there. But yeah, we're split but together at the same time.
I love that.
Yeah.
And so is teens program your flagship program? Is it like what everybody wants to be part of? Or there are other programs that are like the kids froth over? Is froth a cool word, by the way?
Yeah.
You're one.
It is the program everyone wants to come to. It's all the fun activities. It's where they make their friends. They get to do the fun stuff. We have a barbecue, etc. But from that, we also start to develop what interests our kids like. And that's where we build out the rest of our programs. They like the gym. They like learning how to cook. We started a D&D program for the kids that didn't want to come to that teens night because they were socially anxious and they didn't really enjoy go-karting. They just wanted to play D&D. And from that, we've even...
So what's D&D?
So D&D is Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know.
I was like, do not
long ago
disturb.
either.
I was like,
No.
that's a thing that people play.
And so it's like an acting game. You kind of make it up as you go. You roll the dice, and then you kind of
It's role play. It's
role play.
Okay.
So Rhys will come home on that program and he'll tell me about the afternoon, and I'm actually quite jealous when he tells me
And
about
it's
it
actually quite fun.
because they get into it. I love it.
And a story about one of the participants on that program, initially very disconnected, didn't want to go out, didn't want to come to our teens program really, spent a lot of time with Jaxon working on confidence, but still didn't really want to come to any of the programs, come every now and then, but it was very by himself, very, very awkward, very socially anxious. And recently he's joined that program, and to see him role playing, see him being cheeky to everyone, and all of a sudden last week he's now the dungeon master. So what that looks like, he literally tells a story. If I say I want to do this move, he goes, you have to roll a 20. So to see him running the program and being cheeky and like in charge of it is so cool from a kid that didn't even want to engage. So
that is so good.
It's a massive win.
That's so good. And so you guys are like young, ambitious, sort of ready to rock and roll. I'm going to ask you a little bit about your journey of business and what's next, but like talk me through the next 5 years for Empower Care. Where are we going? What are we doing? Like what's our BHAG? Who are we supporting?
We had some pretty audacious dreams when we started, and I think our first session with you, we brought that up. We wanted to be Australia-wide. We wanted to do all of this stuff. And then after sitting with Joel and doing our sessions and learning more of the back end side of things, and then watching where the NDO space has gone as well. I think we kind of just want to dominate the area. We want to be that point of connection for the kids in the local community first, and then see where it goes from there. So we went up to Port Macquarie at the end of last year and we wanted to share one of our programs, the Fit Friends program, which is like a gym and cooking program, which is what we're doing with the adults at the moment. And we went up there 2 or 3 times and we realised that we need to be here. We need to be with our local community. We need to be with the kids and their referrals, the networks around those kids, and then we decide where we're going to go from that.
I love that. And still continuing to niche with young people.
Yeah, and I think we want to keep developing that community, our brand around that, and helping these kids and be the go-to place for kids that are feeling disconnected. We've discussed it lots. We've wanted to do it for the last 2 years, but since we started, it is a warehouse where these kids can come hang, the community, the safe space where we can have our meetings and really keep building out that empower community. I think it'll bring it all together.
Watch your space. When's that happening?
Matter of time. Well, we said that by December last year, but I think December this year will be the
I'm
time.
like, let's just say the year's not having a 7 in it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So let's see that this year. Oh my God, I'm so excited to see what happens for you boys next. And I'm very privileged to be a part of that, which is super special. Talk me through your journey as leaders. Now, I know, Rhys, specifically for you, now you hate getting in front of a camera and doing the thing, but I've seen your social media recently, my boy, and I beg to differ that still exists. I imagine that's a challenge for you, but you're doing it anyway. Talk me through that journey.
Yeah, it is a massive challenge, and I think, from the outside, I do look confident, and even back in the run club days, I used to run a run club, which invites people to come run and create that community, and even in the mornings of that, I would feel so sick in my stomach. It was so bad, I couldn't even deal with it, and I was thinking, people are going to come, they even care what I think, but more people kept coming.
We're going to be able to run.
Exactly, all these kinds of things, and even that still happens to this day. But I know how much of an impact sharing our journey, these special moments, what we're doing in Empower, how beneficial it is for Empower, but also the kids that may be interested in our programs to learn about me, and that we're just normal blokes in building a business. We're not, we're not so disconnected. We don't understand. We understand. We're still going through all these problems ourselves, and that's just life, and we're going to stand by you and we'll work through it together. I think sharing that on social media helps a lot more people understand that, even yourself, business owners, we're not so disconnected. We're real people. Yeah. We have the struggles. It's hard. Life's hard. But sharing that journey, I think, should help a lot of people. And that's, I guess, my why. So when I upload, I put my phone away because I shit myself. I question, did I say that right? And did I do this properly? So I still feel those feelings. So.
And so let's talk about social media. So you go to post a video now. I've been super impressed by your videos too. And I think that one incredible thing about what you guys are doing is you're not just inspiring young people within your community and you're essentially funneling leads to your own business. You're actually inspiring a wider community. Young boys, or young adults that might want to start a business too and are dead set shitting themselves, and just going, hey, listen, we all feel that feel, right? Which is super special to somebody. And I love that you're inspiring young people or just anybody. And so you got these posts on social media. How many times do you do the videos before you post them? Or you like just a one shot wonder and hit it up?
Depends on the video. I think, some of the videos are taken 15 times and I just question everything. Did I say that properly? I hated that. I stutter. So some videos take a long time, and I think, it comes back. I get imposter syndrome, especially posting on social media. You're all of a sudden not just building between me and Jaxon. Everyone else is viewing your opinion, the way you're doing stuff, and you open yourself up to criticism. But I think I shared something on that not long ago about, we're on the field playing the game. I'd much rather be on the field playing the game and having the impact and doing what we're doing than being in the crowd and criticising us. So all the criticism is coming from people probably not doing anything. So
exactly right. I've never seen anyone successful have an opinion on somebody else just trying to have a crack, right?
And the more I keep sharing our journey and sharing our views and the way we're doing things, the more you see people come out of the works. This is so cool. Love what you're doing. So I think the more you become who you are and express that, the more the right people will come out and support you, and who cares about the other people.
I love that so much. And I guarantee if we ask this entire community on this podcast who has imposter syndrome, everybody would put their hand up, and the other people that didn't put their hand up would be fucking lying. Everybody has a monkey on their shoulder, as I call it, right? I know that you're there, so it's like you'd prefer to just be having a crack, or as your beautiful analogy on the field anyway, right? What about you, my friend? What's been your biggest challenge that you've had to overcome in business?
I think taking that initial leap, leaving a job that was so safe and stable in my eyes for, like, I'd been working at that company since I was 16. I left school and I started there. But having Rhys by my side has helped a lot. And you mentioned the social media, and I see the behind the scenes of that. You know, I see him editing the videos late at night. I see how anxious he is, and I let him know how I feel about it too, because I haven't started sharing anything with him about Care. So he's not just inspiring to people around, but he's inspiring to his business partner as well. So that's a learning for me. I only just made an Instagram account a couple of days ago for the Empower content, but that's on the back of him, and it's all a testament to Rhys. And you know, we've had other business owners in our network that probably don't post as much on social. They've even reached out to him and backmarked him and said, this is a reminder for me to build my business. So
just making the decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it never is easy, right? And it's like you've always got this safety net, you know, of like, you know, your job or your security or whatever. But it's like, you know, risk tolerance is like kind of a part of business ownership, right? You've got to have an element of like risk threshold, you know, but it can be super scary.
Yeah, and I think that's how we managed it at the start, wasn't it? While I was working, and like we said, we shared everything. So that was my putting that protective bubble over the risk. And then when it was finally time for me to join full time with him, it was like that weight was off the shoulder and we're ready to rock and roll, even though it's very different and it's still a little bit unsure about the stuff that happens in this industry. But like I wouldn't look back now. It's been one of the best decisions I've ever made, and it's what we do every day. We're seeing it every single day. We still support 30 hours a week as well as run the business. So we're in it and we're seeing these kids, we're seeing them grow, we're seeing them become more confident. So that's the motivation for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was it. Leaving that stable job.
Yeah.
Taking a risk. Not looking back.
Yeah, it's so good. And I love that you haven't looked back, right? It's so crazy sometimes when you just take the leap, you know, and you do the thing, you know, that often it's always the best thing. Or you realize that all the concocted stories in your head about what could possibly go wrong never actually transpire, right? I've had the fortunate position of being able to work with a whole bunch of people that have had the safety of their own job. And then I've been like, okay, we're going to keep this little safety net here and for a little while. And then I'm going to let you know where the time is to pull the trigger. And I've been like, okay, we're quitting our job today, you know, and they'd be like, no. And I'm like, no, today's the fucking day. You know what I mean? And they've quit their job and, like you said, never looked back. And I think sometimes, you know, often we say, you know, what's the worst that could happen? And I actually fucking hate that saying, right? Because I'm like, actually, let's fantasize on what the best thing that could happen, you know? And it's like, you know, maybe even coming on the podcast today, and I know I did something similar when I used to go on stages, and I was shit fucking scared of going on stages, right? And I used to like jump up and down, because if I didn't jump up and down before I went on stage, I would literally actually run away, you know? And so I was so scared, but I then worked with a coach around fantasizing on what could possibly happen. And we did this, you know, session where I'd be like, okay, what's the best thing that could happen when I get on stage? I'd be like, I get on stage, everybody smiles, no one's on their phone, they all look at me, I say something funny, they all laugh, you know, I look around, everyone's nodding and smiling, you know, then what happens is George Clooney gets up on stage, you know, he joins me. Everyone thinks it's amazing that I've brought George Clooney, and he starts kissing my neck, you know what I mean? And then it gets really kind of fantasy after that, right? But if you can fantasize on all of that, it intuitively feeds our brain a different narrative, you know? And then if you feed that over and over and over and over and over and over again, then all of a sudden that becomes the reality. And that's the beautiful thing about manifestation, right? So it's like sometimes you just got to feed yourself a different narrative, because often we feed ourselves like that feedback loop on what the negative stuff that can happen, that we forget all of the beautiful stuff that could be on the other side.
Yeah. And even on that, like realizing how much of other people's stuff you take in and compare it, like even like coming on the podcast, I was thinking about, I was like, how many of the podcasts do you remember all the stuff? Like, I can't remember a thing about any of the stuff ups on any other podcast, right? Like you don't, nobody sits there and fantasizes over your stuff ups and my stuff up.
No.
So nobody actually cares. It's just something we feed ourselves. So yeah, just realizing that whatever you say, people are only going to take in 10% anyway.
100%. And a lot of them would actually just love to be in your position, in that seat, you know, having the opportunity. So it's like, that's a win all in its own.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? All right. So we've talked about what we've had to overcome. Now, if we're sharing vulnerably, what is the next thing that you want to overcome as individuals or business owners? You got calls, right?
I think that the fear, like for me anyways, and then I can't speak for Rhys on this, but when we did go through, we're going through a period of growth now where we're getting a lot of referrals, and we're starting to grow a lot faster than what we had in the past. Before we were kind of hiring as we were growing. Now it's like we really need to keep up, and we need to make sure that the quality stays the same as what we have been. So that's my fear, and that's what I worry about overcoming. Like I don't want to hire so quickly that it loses that sense of connection, and we start to, be a big company where we lose that quality and that support that we provided and what we've built on and what we've tried so hard to build down.
Yeah.
Like that's my fear. But we're doing some good work with Joel and you guys.
Joel, you're getting a good shout out here, my boy.
For me, that personally, that's what I'm nervous about.
Yeah, and I think sometimes in business as well, when we go through our seasons, right, which is what you're going through now, is like your next season, is like, there is, again, whether we call it the monkey on the shoulder or whatever, it's like there's this thing where you have to level up. And then so if you want this in your business or this in your life, then who do I need to become in order to get there, right? And then there'll be this part of you, which is probably your imposter syndrome or that deep thing inside you is like, hey, no, don't go up there, stay down here. Because it's safe down here, because we know what to expect when we're here, and we can be who we are here. We don't have to become anything better or level up or whatever. So it's like, that can be a big part of it. It's like, no, get fucked. You know what I mean? I'm ready to level up and become the best version of myself in order to do the next thing.
The comfort zone and the growth inside the comfort zone.
Totally.
Or just outside the comfort zone. So,
yes. Yeah. I love that. What's next for you?
I think just continuing back on from what you said is me becoming who I actually am and really expressing that and really leaning into that, and I am capable of becoming the leader that our team needs. I think imposter, like you said, everyone has it, but I struggle with it a lot, and isn't thinking that I'm not capable of the next stage. But we've shown we've done it. Like everyone tells us we're doing a good job, and all that feedback's coming in, and we've walked the walk before, and just accepting that even though it's scary, we can do it. And I think just overcoming that, I don't know. Yeah, sometimes my brain spirals and one thing goes wrong, and then you think, are we really capable of the next step? So I think it's overcoming that and realize we've done it before and we can do it again. And it's just, leaning into it.
I love that so much. It's so evident that you guys actually, live what you say, and you're actually walking the talk in everything that you're doing and saving, both in business and in your personal life. And I think that it's not easy to share as vulnerably as you have today, and just know that that's all, I'm proud, but you're inspiring people by doing what you're doing and for sharing so openly. So thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Rach.
The world ends tomorrow and Empower Care no longer exists. Or dies, and you've got your funeral. What do you guys want to be known for?
That's a powerful one.
That is.
It just came to me too. Must have been the vodka.
I think it's pinned on my Instagram still, but it's being that person that, when these kids end up going on to pursue whatever dream they are, whether that's, getting their license or making a new friend, that I was that person that believed in them, and I instilled that belief in as many people as I can that they can do it, and I showed them through my actions in our journey. So I think it's instilling belief in others that they can do it.
I love that.
To be honest.
And to be fair, that's a really good answer, Rhys, to come after that one. But I feel like the same way. I feel that being able to instill the confidence in these young men and young women to do the things that they didn't think that they would be able to do or never believed that they would be able to do, like graduating high school, getting your learner's license, these things that seemed unreachable to them, but with the power of our support and the team that had Empower Care, that it became reachable and became achievable.
Totally.
And to be remembered by that, I'd be a happy dead person at the end of the world.
The only thing that I would add to that is what I would say at your funeral, if you guys died tomorrow, is that you were part of their story.
Yeah.
That even in years to come, that they were the modern man in their lives.
Yeah.
That they reflect back and say, I was able to do that or become this or reach that goal because of your Empower Care.
Yeah, because it could have went either way. If I never reached out to that man, I could have kept spiraling. And if that's what we are for those kids, is that pivoting point of realizing I am capable and we were the first people to instill that belief in them, then I want to do that to as many kids as we can.
Pretty special aspiration, boys. One final question.
Yeah.
You're a young person or a parent and you want to leave them with something. You're never going to meet them again. They never become part of Empower Care, but you just want to leave or instill something with them.
Yeah.
What is it that you're telling them?
You're not alone and you're not behind and you definitely belong somewhere.
Beautiful.
Someone put that on a shirt. Oh, yeah.
It's like crickets. Do you want to add anything? You want to instill something in a young person or a parent or anything like that?
I think it's hard for me to say because I struggle with it myself now, but there is growth just outside that comfort zone. We talked about it earlier. Pushing that little bit further is where you'll grow, and it's nervous. You're going to be shit scared, but that is where you'll see real personal growth. That's what I think, yeah.
I love that so much. That's perfect, boys. Oh my God, you're going to get so much for that. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been an amazing episode. I know you walked in here wobbling. Yeah. You're going to walk out here drunk, but whatever. Maybe wobbling in a different way, but I so am grateful to work alongside you and be part of your journey for having me today.
Thank you so much.